God's law versus man's rule. How religion became a political weapon. Hey, rebels. In 2025, the game's clear. Politicians don't just pray for votes. They kneel to pastors, priests, and evangelical kingmakers to secure power. This isn't God's law, it's man's rule, a calculated grab for control. This is a speculative critique, so think critically. We're exposing the church politics machine, tying it to today's headlines, and breaking free with a spiritual practice. Let's tear it down. Segment 1. The hook: politicians and pastors in bed. Picture a senator in a megachurch backroom, shaking hands with a pastor who commands millions. It's not a theory, it's fact. Nearly every US president has had church backing. Pew Research shows 43 of 46 presidents were Protestant or Catholic, with only Jefferson, Lincoln, and Andrew Johnson unaffiliated. Why? Churches deliver votes. In 2025, 65% of Americans identify as Christian, and their leaders hold sway. Take John F. Kennedy. In 1960, he faced evangelical backlash over his Catholicism. Billy Graham rallied pastors to block him, fearing Vatican control. Kennedy won, but only after proving he'd keep church and state separate. Fast forward. George W. Bush, a born-again Methodist, leaned on evangelical voters in 2000, crediting Billy Graham for his faith. Donald Trump? He had Paula White as his personal pastor, rallying Christian right voters despite his non-denominational label. Joe Biden, the second Catholic president, leans on his faith for social justice optics, yet courts evangelical support. This isn't coincidence, it's strategy. Segment 2. The machine: how it works today. The church politics machine is stronger than ever. Online platforms buzz with #faith debate, showing pastors endorsing candidates from pulpits. A July 2025 IRS ruling now lets churches keep tax-exempt status while endorsing politicians, turning them into super PACs with no donor disclosure. This means dark money flows through churches, buying loyalty. Politicians like Trump barter access for evangelical support via groups like Topus of Faith and the Danbury Institute. Evangelicals are key. A 2024 Politico poll showed they outnumbered Catholics among Trump and Harris voters. Pastors like Jack Graham, who led the Southern Baptist Convention, and Jennison Franklin of Free Chapel wield millions in followers, shaping elections. The Journal of Consciousness Studies in 2025 says fear-based messaging from pulpits suppresses critical thinking, keeping voters loyal. Politicians know this. They court pastors to tap that fear, ensuring votes. This isn't faith, it's power. Segment 3. The conspiracy: defying God's law. This is where it gets dark. Politicians and pastors aren't just allies. They're co-conspirators in a system that defies God's law. Jesus flipped tables, called out hypocrites who used faith for gain. Yet today's leaders twist his message. The Bible says, "Render unto Caesar what is Caesar's." But politicians and pastors blur that line, merging church and state for control, to push Christian values in policy. The Journal of Positive Psychology in 2025 shows fear-driven faith harms mental health, yet pastors preach it to keep congregants in line. Politicians fund megachurches through tax breaks, while pastors deliver voters. It's a deal. God's law, love, truth, freedom gets buried under man's rule. Segment 4. The rebellion: spiritual practice. Grab a journal. Write. What fear holds my spirit? Maybe it's guilt from a sermon. That's your chain breaking. Now journal. What does my soul crave? Freedom. Truth. Sketch a symbol, a star, a spiral. #sacrogeometry is trending in 2025 because it bypasses gatekeepers, connecting you to the divine. This is your rebellion against man's rule. Segment 5. Call to action. It's 2025. The church politics machine is exposed. Your soul isn't a pawn. Share in the comments. What fear did you burn? How has faith been weaponized against you? Engage respectfully. This is a safe space. Subscribe, hit the bell, share this video. Watch the full thing if you're here from a short. This is a speculative critique, so engage thoughtfully. Reject man's rule. Embrace God's law. Let's build a community of rebels. Peace.